The iPhone has many features, but it also has some limitations. The key to successful app development and to not making yourself too crazy is to understand these limitations, live and program within them, and even learn to love them. It can be done, honest. These constraints help you understand the kinds of applications that are right for the device. Remember, if you can't do something easily because of the iPhone's limitations, it's probably something you shouldn't do in your app. So you have to learn to live with and even embrace some facts of iPhone life, such as small screens and fat fingers, immediate actions that occur, and limited computer power, memory, and battery life. Although the iPhone's screen size and resolution allow you to deliver amazing apps, it's still pretty small. Yet while the small screen limits what you can display on a single page, all you need to perform is some kind of mental jujitsu. Think of the small screen as a feature. When your user interface is simple and direct, the user can understand it more easily. With fewer items in the small display, users can find what they want more quickly. A small screen forces you to ruthlessly eliminate clutter and keep your text concise and to the point. Although the multi-touch interface is an iPhone feature, it brings with it limitations as well. First of all, fingers aren't as precise as a mouse pointer, and thus some operations are difficult. For example, text selection is difficult with fingers. Here's what you need to know as you plan your app. Size your on-screen elements for fat fingers. User interface elements need to be large enough. Apple recommends that anything a user has to select or manipulate with a finger be a minimum of 44 by 44 pixels in size, and spaced far enough apart so that users' fingers can find their way around the interface comfortably. Remember, you can only do so much using fingers. You definitely have fewer options using fingers than you do using the combination of a multi-button mouse and keyboard. Another limitation you need to know as you plan your app is how fast things occur and how immediate they occur. So provide an undo operation for immediate actions. Because it's so much easier to make a mistake using just fingers, you also need to ensure that you implement a robust and yet unobtrusive undo mechanism. You don't want to have your users confirm every action. It makes using the app tedious. But on the other hand, you don't want your app to let anybody mistakenly delete a page without asking, "Are you sure?" Lost work is worse than tedious menu navigation. Providing an undo option helps solve this problem. Another issue around using fingers is that the keyboard isn't that finger-friendly, so you should offer lists of options instead of typed entries. Using the keyboard isn't high on the list of things I really like about iPhones. Instead of requiring the user to type information, Apple suggests that you have a user select an item from a list. But on the other hand, the items in the list must be large enough to be easily selectable, which gets back to the first problem. But again, like the small screen, this limitation can inspire you, maybe force you to create a better app. To create a complete list of choices, for example, the developer is forced to completely understand the context of what the user is trying to accomplish. Having that depth of understanding makes it possible for you to focus the app on what's essential, eliminating anything that's unnecessary or distracting. It also serves to focus the user on the task at hand. As an app designer for the iPhone, you have several balancing acts to keep in mind. Although significant by original Mac standards, the computer power and amount of memory on the iPhone are limited. The access to the internet can mitigate the power and memory limitations by storing data and sometimes offloading processing to a server, but those internet operations also eat up the battery faster. The power management system in iOS conserves power by shutting down any hardware features that are not currently being used. However, you must manage the trade-off in your app between using all those busy features and keeping the battery from running out. Any app that takes advantage of internet access using Wi-Fi or the 3G network will use up battery. So will any app that uses core location services. And also, if you use accelerometers, you will really eat up the battery. iOS is particularly unforgiving when it comes to memory usage. If you run out of memory, it will simply shut down your app. Unfortunately, not to the tune of Shut Down by the Beach Boys. This just goes to show that not all limitations can be exploited as features.